Kelvin Hepner with RealAgriculture. We are at Farm Tech 2017 here in Edmonton, and pleased to be joined by Glenn Blahy of the Canadian Ag Safety Association. CASA, Glenn, leading the whole BeGrainSafe project. You have the demonstration running here, and can you fill us in on what BeGrainSafe is all about?
Well, BeGrainSafe is a safety initiative that we launched this year, 2017, across Western Canada to look at the whole issue of grain safety, communicate message not only to producers and their families, but also to the emergency responders that have to deal with the issue.
Mm-hmm. So, grain entrapment, it's something that is, unfortunately, we've had experiences with that especially in the last couple of years. When you look across Canada, there have been several cases.
Right. The incidents continue to occur. One of the challenges is that we only know about the ones that make the news. We don't know about the gotaways. We don't know about the close calls. And in some cases, fatalities occur and the information is never released publicly. Here at Farm Tech, we've been talking to lots and lots of people, and the one common denominator between some of the people that we've spoken to is they're describing an incident that happened in Grand Prairie last week, where a 27-year-old man died in a grain bin incident. And that one didn't make the news. It's just information within the community that is slowly moving out. So we really have no idea of how many incidents are occurring, other than the fact that if we take a look at the reportables, in the health and safety field, we know that for every critical incident, there are 10 or 20 minor incidents. So if we can take a look at using that formula, where in 2015 we had 7 fatalities, in 2016 there were 3 fatalities that we know of. So indicators are that these issues are happening very, very frequently. We also know that in the United States, based on their experience, out-of-condition grain is a major factor, major contributor to grain entrapment situations, as well as other types of injuries and illness. We know that Western Canadian farmers had a terrible harvest last year, and so we want to draw attention to the fact that there is a great potential for things going wrong and the potential for people being injured or losing their lives with that out-of-condition grain.
And that will be in the coming months here as we try to empty those bins and
absolutely. The temperatures are warming up, and so the grain that has been in storage frozen solid, producers are going to start moving that grain to try and dry it out and get it aerated so that it doesn't totally spoil and reap a little bit of benefit out of it, and that becomes a challenge when they start moving out of conditioned grain.
Yeah. So if we look across the trade show floor here at Farm Tech, we can see the part of the trailer unit. Can you walk us through what's all involved in the actual demonstration?
Well, the trailer unit we have, first of all, just as a point of clarification, the Canadian unit isn't built, so we brought this unit up from Peosta, Iowa. There are about 10 of them rolling around the United States doing training programs, and we have a partial grain, a hopper bottom grain bin there. We've got about 110 bushels of grain in it. We've got a mannequin that weighs 125 pounds, and the mannequin goes from just below its knees to well above its waist in less than 10 seconds. And so what we're doing is demonstrating to the people here how quickly you get caught. It's only a 6-inch auger moving that grain out, and in those 10 seconds, that mannequin goes down, and if you're talking about a 10 or a 16-inch auger, that's going to happen a lot quicker. And then we do a mock rescue. So we've got some rescue tubes. They're basically a sectional cofferdam that we put around the victim to stop them from going any further into the grain, to stop any grain from avalanching onto them. And then we take the grain out of the cofferdam so that we can then rescue the individual. There are phenomenal forces exerted on that individual. So if you take an average 175-pound male, and if they stand on the surface of the grain, they weigh 175 pounds, it takes 175 pounds of force to lift them up. However, if that 175-pound individual is up to their arms, up to their shoulders in grain, it's going to take over 600 pounds of force to pull them out, and physically you would injure them if you just tried to pull them out, so you have to incorporate a different rescue technique for that.
And so this trailer, this whole BeGrainSafe project involves the trailer and then actually training eventually
That's
first
correct.
responders and
So,
farmers?
so the trailer is going to be used, the mobile unit is going to be used for three purposes. Purpose number one is to engage conversation at agricultural trade shows and events like this where we draw attention to the issue. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to make it available to as many rural fire departments as we can so that they become trained and subsequently equipped to be able to respond to grain entrapment scenarios. And the third thing that we are planning to do with this grain trailer is make it available along with a one-day training course to agricultural producers that have large volumes of on-site storage of grain, and we'll would like to be able to work with those producers to help them develop an emergency response plan. Most agricultural operations are anywhere between 15 minutes and half an hour away from the fire truck and the ambulance from coming. So if something goes wrong, we would like to make sure that those operations have a plan in place to cover that time span until the trained professionals arrive with all the equipment, and that involves developing an emergency plan. So giving correct information on location, how to shut off, lock out, tag out the equipment so that no one else turns it out, how to stabilize the patient, how to provide some basic first aid to them. So that's our hope, the third application of that trailer.
Okay. Finally then, Glenn, RealAg, we are proud to have supported this project and participated in it, and today CN Rail announced it's on board with funding. Where are things at in terms of financing and getting this project completed?
Our financing, we're in a very comfortable position now, and really, I do have to thank RealAg for their support. It was very interesting. Our first endorsement of our concept, our first sponsors, were producer organizations that stepped forward and said, let's do this. The Manitoba, the Saskatchewan, and the Alberta Canola Growers Associations. So it was the producers that endorsed the program and said, let's go forward. Some of the corporate sponsors came up. RealAg came on board and helped us with some crowdfunding in terms of raising resources, and out of that we ended up getting a lot of personal funders contributing to it. And with CN's delivery of their $50,000 check, we're just totally thrilled because we now have reached our budget goal for our first trailer, and we should be able to cover the operating costs of that trailer with the commitments from our corporate sponsors. It is interesting. My colleague from the Canadian Ag Safety Association was in Quebec last week, and we are getting inquiries from Ontario and Quebec saying, when are you bringing the trailer to Eastern Canada? There are farmers here too that need the training. Mm-hmm. So we may be looking towards our Eastern partners as well to be able to develop a second trailer.
So that would be a second trailer, or is this one going to go across the country?
Logistically speaking, it would be challenging to move it back and forth, coast to coast. So in all probability, it will be a second trailer. We certainly want to get ours built and have it operational. Chase some of those bugs out of it that I'm sure will be in it on the first build, and then build a second product that's going to be new and improved.
All right. Thanks for your time, and
thank you so much.
Keeping us up.
And thank you for RealAg for your support.
Yes. Thank you, Glenn.
Great.